Hey, 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 time for another Out of This World story from rSpace. My wife, 37 female, and I, 39 male, entered into an open marriage at her request. Now, she wants to close it up again. My wife and I have been married for 15 years. We have 2 children, a 14-year-old girl and a 12-year-old boy. About a year and a half ago, my wife came to me asking for an open marriage. She said she was bored with just us and wanted to experience more. I was very against this, as I am a strong believer that marriage is between 2 people. At the same time, when we got married, I hadn't had 5 sexual partners and my wife had only been with me. She made it clear that either we opened things up or she was prepared to file for divorce. Neither of us wanted that, so I agreed under certain conditions. Nobody brought back to the house. We don't talk about partners. The kids don't know. The family doesn't know. All partners are tested ahead of time. Nobody that we both know, etc. I had a strong suspicion that my wife had someone in mind, and this was confirmed when 24 hours after we agreed, she went out and didn't return until 4 a.m. It was difficult for me to accept, and I was really not okay with it, but I wanted to save my marriage. Last May, I met Amber. Our daughters are in marching band together. Amber is divorced and has no interest in getting married again. Like everyone else in the world, she does have needs. So 5 months after opening up the marriage, I began sleeping with Amber. At first, it felt like cheating, but honestly, it's nice to have something no strings, where neither of us wants it to proceed forward. Over time, I became comfortable with the idea that my wife and I would be able to get our needs met both inside and outside of our marriage. It actually made our sex life a lot more passionate, and we were much happier. My wife and her side guy, who I never met, stopped seeing each other in April, amid coronavirus. From what I gather, while he's in an open marriage, his wife is not aware. It was too hard to get away. In May, we helped organize a Zoom concert for the band kids, which turned out great, though my wife met Amber for the first time. Well, I guess Amber has been open with a few of the moms because it got back to my wife that Amber was my outside partner. See the update. My wife informed me that as we both know Amber, I needed to end things with her. I refused, citing that the fact that neither of us knew her ahead of time and them meeting did not violate the rules we established. Throughout the past month, she's numerous times told me that she's uncomfortable with me continuing to sleep with Amber and I need to conclude the arrangement. Note that she was fine for a year where she was with her partner. This weekend, she came to me and stated that she'd like to close our marriage again. I told her I was open to that as long as we agreed that it would remain closed moving forward. She agreed that's what she wants as well, that she doesn't need to have any more partners, and that she's happy with just me. I told her that we could agree to close the marriage on 2 conditions. The first I laid out above. The second, I wanted her to sign a document waiving spousal support in the event of divorce. She flipped out. She categorically refused to even consider that. My wife is a stay-at-home mom and has not worked since we got married. She said that I could keep seeing Amber and leave her with nothing if she signed that. I told her that I'd be willing to include a list of mutually agreed upon situations, including infidelity on my part, where the agreement would be void. She says it's not open for discussion, that she's not going to continue to be cheated on and left with nothing when I decide to leave her for Amber. I pointed out that this whole thing was her idea and that I only went along with it to preserve our marriage. She says that if we don't close the marriage up, then it might as well be over. I told her that I'm not going to tolerate being threatened with divorce every time she doesn't get her way. She says I'm being dramatic and I need to focus on us. Should I agree without stipulations? I know there's no future with Amber, as we've both agreed it's purely physical, and even though I know I'm standing my ground, I feel like I'm blowing up my marriage over a dead end. At the same time, I don't believe it's about Amber at all. Update. So, based on what some of you have said, this morning I called Amber up, reminded her that we were supposed to keep things discreet, and asked who she shared the details of our liaison with. She denied telling anyone, and I didn't get the feeling she was lying. I pulled out my wife's Google timeline history and discovered that she tracked me to Amber's house in April. She followed me and then deliberately introduced herself to Amber to create a conflict. Here I was, thinking she actually wanted to get involved in band parents, but no, she just wanted to try to end things with my outside partner. I don't even know what to do at this point. Too long didn't read. My wife asked for an open marriage. I reluctantly agreed, and now that she's no longer seeing her outside partner, she wants to close it up again. Update. To recap, my wife told me that she wanted an open marriage. I didn't, but agreed when she told me she was prepared to file for divorce. She had an outside partner within 24 hours. It took me a few months. Her partner and her broke up. She stalked me and introduced herself to my partner to try and force me to end it. When that didn't work, she decided to demand that the marriage be closed again. I put conditions on it that she wasn't willing to accept. Now on to the last month. It's been a very tough month. I confronted my wife about the stalking. She denied it at first, and then I brought up her location history. She attempted to deflect, claiming I invaded her privacy, but I didn't take the bait. Finally, she admitted that she didn't like that I had someone on the side when she didn't, and a mom at the school felt too close to home. I agreed that I would end things with Amber if she would agree to counseling, close the marriage up permanently, and start looking for a job to help with household expenses. She replied that she's a stay-at-home mom. I told her it was something we could revisit after coronavirus is over, but when things normalize, she can't just stay home. We did a few therapy sessions and things went well at first. The therapist challenged her on why she had followed me, asked why she felt she had to go outside the marriage, and had her address pretty much everything going through my mind. Then things went south. She admitted her outside partner was someone from her past, a high school boyfriend. They'd broken up before anything happened, and had reconnected. She regretted not going all the way with him in high school, and decided that she wanted to fulfill that desire. I was pissed. I told her that if me choosing a mom from school was too close to home, then her choosing a married ex-boyfriend was completely unacceptable. I told her I didn't even want to look at her. I checked into a hotel to go cool off because I didn't want my kids to see me like that. I stayed there for a few days and then decided to go home and deal with what was left of my marriage. When I got home, I found that my daughter was being unusually cold to me. Even for a 14-year-old girl, she was very dismissive. When I asked her what was going on, she went off on me for cheating on mom with a band mom. I asked her where she heard this. She wouldn't tell me at first, telling me it didn't matter, but then finally admitted her mother told her that I was staying at my girlfriend's house after I left. I counted to 10 in my head, told her it wasn't true, showed her the receipt on my phone for the hotel, and told her that her mother and I had a fight and I decided to take some time away so we could both calm down. She cried a lot, and I promised her that I loved her and I'd always love her. I did my best to remain calm, though I was burning up inside. I didn't even go to my wife. I went on Facebook and found the guy's wife. I sent her a message letting her know that for a year and a half, her husband had been having an affair with my wife, and I'd be happy to send her any proof she'd like. She was very appreciative and had suspected something was up. A few hours later, my wife came to me in a rage, screaming that I had violated the confidentiality of our therapy and ruined the guy's life. I asked her what she meant to do by telling our daughter that I had a girlfriend. She denied doing it and still refuses to admit that she told her anything other than I was away for a few days. This went down last Thursday. We haven't spoke to each other since. We're supposed to have another counseling session tomorrow, though I don't know if it's even worth going. I keep catching her in lies, and I don't think I'll ever be able to trust her again. I know that filing for divorce is the wise choice at this point, but I feel sick thinking about it. I feel like a failure because I couldn't make my marriage work. I know that's where it's going to end up. I just feel like I'm going to throw up every time I try to call an attorney. All right, community. Give him some advice. Careful Delay 6068 says, I suppose there's no age limitation for lack of maturity. One would expect that people in their late 30s pushing 40, especially those who are married with children, would take life's responsibilities seriously and not succumb to infantile adolescent urges for instant gratification. Question to your wife. Was it worth wrecking a good marriage, at least up until her sexual urges consumed her, just to whet her appetite for physical attraction to someone other than her spouse? Question to you. Why did you agree for an open marriage if you were against it, based on principle and moral code? Even if you answer that you love her totally unconditional, that cannot think of life without her, that you'd do anything for her, did you ever stop to think what her out of the blues proposition means? Why? What happened after 14 years? Did you step back and try to discern any qualitative difference in your relationship? If there was none, then all I can say is that is a late bloomer vis-a-vis sexual awareness, romantic relationship, etc. Perhaps it was gradual or perhaps a sudden change or realization that she is attracted to people other than her spouse. Neither of you sound like people who believe in alternative lifestyle, such as open marriage or polyamory. In that case, she could very well be telling you the truth. Her former boyfriend could be very well the one that got away. Perhaps she regretted that so much that she either dug him up or had a chance reacquaintance, after which they reconnected and maintained a relationship, albeit not physically. I would speculate that she most likely than not would have cheated on you, however, being a stay-at-home mom. It would be difficult, if not impossible, for her to be away from you and your family at all odd times of day and night, if she had been more of a homebody all these years. Therefore, she decided to execute Plan B, knowing you far better than you do her, the open marriage proposition with the threat of divorce. She must know that you don't like divorce, and or your weakness, if one could call it, is your wife and the kids. To me, it seems that she has always held the threat of divorce over your head as trump card and a bluff that she never intends, or intended now that things may have changed, to follow through. Your update about your recent discussion with her that you want her to get a job, which she flatly rejected, proves that she really doesn't want a divorce, but uses it as a weapon because it works. Why wouldn't she want to get a job if she is ready for a divorce? After all, even with alimony, she would be worse off financially and her standard of living would diminish. That would happen to you both for that matter. So, why wouldn't she try to get a job if that would attain a better standard of living or quality of life? Moreover, alimony, what you call spousal support, is not forever. Those days are long gone. In most states, divorce courts expect a non-working spouse to get a job and become independent eventually. I'm sorry to inform you that she checked out of your marriage the day her sexual attraction towards her ex-boyfriend became so strong that she decided to act upon the urge. As things stand now, I feel that neither of you love each other the way you used to. The flame is burning low, if not sputtering on the brink. Your marriage has devolved to one-upmanship. I ran out of time last night, but my recommendation to you would be that you ought to focus on your children from here on instead of your wife. If you're a responsible parent who loves his children immensely, want to do right by them, and want to have a very close and honest relationship with them, now is the time to pay attention to your daughter. She, being in her early teens, is perhaps at her most vulnerable and impressionable phase of her life. If your wife continues to feed misinformation in order to manipulate her to side with her mom, and you, on the other hand, try to present facts contrary to what she is being told by her mom, it shall create a very confusing and chaotic situation for your daughter. You should work to build trust with your daughter so that you are able to lay the bare facts to her. You should do it sooner than later, as you should know very well that your wife is already hard at work to make her daughter side with manufactured stories. Finally, I would encourage you to work on yourself to become a strong and self-reliant person. As this relationship with your wife has probably run its course, it is time to think about yourself first and to try your utmost to be the best parent to your children. Yeah, that was all one comment. Okay, one more, not as long, before we close it out. Celius Onaha says, marriage is over, the lies, the mudslinging, the poisoning of the kids' minds, a divorce is coming, whether you're the one to file it or not. Start using ATMs near off-track betting or casinos and start withdrawing cash. This could get ugly, and you'll need enough cash to get a lawyer and a new place to live. If questioned, claim to have developed a temporary gambling issue. Reduce your credit limits on all active credit cards. Expect a maxed out credit card to be part of the divorce settlement. Better it be $2,000 than $20,000. If she's a stay-at-home mom, expect her to maintain and receive the house in the settlement. Also, as a stay-at-home mom, it is pretty likely that she'll end up with custody unless the kids argue hard against it. Get names and phone numbers for their teachers, schools, and doctors. Be able to describe all of them. I've read plenty of stories where the guy's attempt to get custody gets thrown out because they don't have the basic info. Talk to a lawyer. Listen to the lawyer. Expect advice from people to favor her, i.e., don't try to take her kids. Don't stoop to her level. Just give her blank. The only advice that will matter is from the lawyer. They're the professional that you will be paying to advise you. Maintain contact with the kids. Tell them the truth, but not the details. Custody. Mom and I can't live together anymore, and we both want you to live with us. Be careful what you say about this whole situation, to or about your wife. Anywhere your kids might be around. Brush up on AV recording consent laws where you live, and record everything somehow. Write in a notebook you keep hidden outside of the house if you have to. Include date, times, and how you felt. Leave out the words hate, angry, or anything else which could be misinterpreted to paint you as violent. That's all I've got for now. I wish you luck.